Welcome back to Ancient Wisdom. Stay away from people with a loser's mindset, because if you don't, they will slowly drain your energy, your ambition, and ultimately your future. You've probably met someone like this before. No matter what topic you bring up, business, opportunity, self-improvement, they always have an excuse ready. It won't work. That's a scam. I don't have the resources. People like us can't succeed. They overanalyze everything, but never take a single step forward. They wait, hesitate, and sit on the sidelines, too afraid to fail, too comfortable to grow. And when others fail, they laugh. When others succeed, they dismiss it as luck, connections, or cheating the system. In their world, effort doesn't matter, growth doesn't exist, and success is always someone else's privilege. This kind of thinking isn't just negative, it's contagious. Spend enough time around it, and you'll start doubting yourself too. That's why the first lesson is simple: distance yourself from that mindset. Not out of arrogance, but out of self-preservation. Now let's flip the perspective. If that's what a losing mindset looks like, then what defines someone truly capable? How do you recognize people who are operating on a completely different level? Usually, it's not obvious at first. In fact, the most intelligent people are often the hardest to read. There's a depth to them. They're calm, composed, and rarely reveal everything they're thinking. It's almost like their mind is running on a higher frequency. They don't talk excessively. They say just enough. And somehow, whatever they say feels exactly right, like they understand people without needing to prove it. That's not coincidence. That's awareness. They don't rush to show their plans. They don't seek validation. They quietly build, adjust, and refine behind the scenes. And when results finally appear, it feels sudden to others, but in reality, it's the outcome of long, silent preparation. Another thing you'll notice: emotional control. Truly smart people are rarely reactive. They don't let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. They understand that emotions are natural, but acting on them impulsively is costly. They also don't force themselves into circles where they don't belong. Instead of trying to fit in, they build their own networks, slowly, intentionally, through meaningful interactions, not loud presence. Now, here's something important. Every human being goes through stages of growth. Think of it like levels in a game. And most people, whether they realize it or not, are moving through these stages throughout their lives. At the beginning, there's innocence. You're carefree, easily influenced, and driven by curiosity without much direction. Then comes confusion. You start to see reality, but you don't yet have the strength or clarity to act on it. You have ideas, but no execution. Next is emotional instability, blaming others, reacting strongly, feeling like the world is against you. After that, arrogance often appears. You think you figured things out. You start looking down on others, believing you're smarter than everyone else. Then comes a more subtle stage, pretending to be weak or naive while actually calculating behind the scenes. It's a phase of learning strategy. From there, if you grow correctly, you become decisive. You develop courage, resourcefulness, and the ability to act. Then you reach a powerful balance, soft on the outside, strong on the inside. You're resilient, calm, and no longer need to prove anything. And finally, the highest stage, effortless mastery. You move naturally, without force. You understand systems, people, and timing. Life flows through you instead of against you. But here's the truth: most people never reach those higher stages. Not because they can't, but because they don't change how they think. So how do you accelerate your growth? How do you move forward while others stay stuck? Let's go through some core principles. First, if your mind is constantly busy, anxious, and distracted, you will never produce breakthrough ideas. A mind filled with noise cannot create clarity. If you spend your days scrolling, consuming entertainment, and reacting to everything, you lose the ability to think deeply. And without deep thinking, you can't simplify problems. You can't see the root. You can't make the right decisions. Second, truly capable people protect their thinking time. Every day, they intentionally create space, 1 or 2 hours where they are completely undisturbed. No phone, no noise, no interruptions. Just thinking. Why? Because your decisions shape your life. Every outcome you experience is the result of a decision you made, or avoided. If your decision-making accuracy improves even slightly, your results can multiply dramatically. A person who is right 80% of the time will outperform someone at 70% by a massive margin over the long run. Third, when helping others, don't give everything at once. Start small. Let things grow naturally. Because if you give too much in the beginning and then reduce later, people won't remember your generosity. They'll remember your change. The same applies to boundaries. Be firm early, then soften over time. Not the other way around. Fourth, real transformation isn't about adding new habits, it's about breaking old beliefs. Small improvements require effort. But massive growth requires you to destroy outdated thinking patterns. If you try to adjust, instead of rebuild, you'll stay stuck between two worlds, never fully progressing. Fifth, what you have right now reflects your current level of awareness and ability. If you want more, you don't chase the outcome, you upgrade yourself. Your desires often exceed your current capacity. That's not a problem. It's a signal. It tells you exactly where you need to grow. Sixth, understand the reality of accumulation. Resources tend to flow toward those who already have them. Money attracts money. Influence attracts more influence. This isn't unfair, it's structural. It's how systems work. If you resist this truth emotionally, you weaken yourself. But if you understand it, you can position yourself within that flow. Seventh, environment matters more than motivation. If you surround yourself with driven, capable people, your standards will rise automatically. You'll think better, act better, and expect more from yourself. But if you stay in a stagnant environment, your energy will slowly decline. You'll lose ambition. You'll settle. You'll forget what growth even feels like. A powerful environment sharpens you. A weak one dulls you. Eighth, don't only study failure, study success. Learning what doesn't work is useful, but it won't show you the path forward. You need to observe those who have already achieved what you want. If you dismiss their success as luck, you close the door to learning. Ninth, stop wasting time on directionless activity. Being busy doesn't mean being productive. In fact, many people use busyness to avoid thinking. They fill their schedules so they don't have to face the uncomfortable truth that they don't have a clear direction. And 10th, simplify your life. In a world designed to distract and consume your attention, reducing unnecessary desires is a form of power. Focus on growth. Build skills. Strengthen your thinking. And don't rush to show results. When your ability is real, recognition will come naturally. This is where your transformation begins, not by changing everything overnight, but by changing how you see the world. And once your perception shifts, your actions will follow. Number 11. There's a well-known story about Bill Gates. When someone asked him what he feared the most, his answer was surprisingly simple. Young people who are working day and night to innovate. It sounds almost humorous, but if you think about it, it reveals something very real. The most dangerous force in the world is not competition, it's relentless effort combined with clear thinking. Your 20s are one of the most critical phases of your life. It's not supposed to be easy. If it feels too comfortable, that's actually a warning sign. Because hardship doesn't disappear, it just gets delayed. And when it comes later, it hits harder. Some people wake up early. In their early 20s, they begin to understand how the world works. They rebuild their thinking, refine their environment, and gradually step out of confusion. But most people don't. They move from childhood into adulthood without ever pausing to reflect. They stay busy, but not aware. They grow older, but not wiser. Real awakening is different. When it happens, it changes your energy from the inside out. You begin to see things clearly. You stop chasing meaningless validation. You develop confidence, not because of what you have, but because of how you think. Number 12. For many people, true understanding of society doesn't come until their late 30s or even 40s. But by then, responsibilities have already locked them into place: family, finances, obligations. Even if they see clearly, they no longer have the flexibility to act boldly. Meanwhile, those who understand earlier gain an enormous advantage. Not because they are lucky, but because they either had access to better information, better guidance, or they went through experiences that forced them to grow faster. The greatest waste in life isn't money, it's time and awareness. You can lose money and earn it back. But lost time, combined with low awareness, compounds into something far more costly. When you're young, you may not fully understand the value of money, power, or influence. You may not train the skills needed to acquire them. And before you realize it, time passes. At 35, reality becomes very clear. Opportunities shrink. Competition increases. Responsibilities multiply. And suddenly you're forced to catch up in a race where others started much earlier. That's why early awareness is everything. Number 13. Confidence is important, but overconfidence is dangerous. When people experience success, even small success, they often become complacent. They relax too early. They indulge. They lose focus. This is how people fall, not from failure, but from success. The moment you think you've made it, you stop growing. And the world doesn't wait. It keeps moving. If you stop, you fall behind. Staying grounded is key. Stay disciplined. Stay focused. Avoid unnecessary distractions. Real strength comes from consistency, not moments of brilliance. Number 14. Most people fail not because they lack ability, but because they give up too soon. They start something with excitement, but when the difficulty appears, they retreat. They say they'll persist for months or years, but quit within weeks. Consistency is rare. Discipline is rare. And that's exactly why those who have it stand out so much. If you can simply continue when others stop, you already have an advantage. Number 15. True capability is not just about skill, it's about perspective. People who succeed often see things more clearly and more broadly than others. They don't just look at individual actions, they understand systems. They see patterns. They recognize how different forces interact. Life is not random. It follows structures. Those who understand the structure can navigate it. Those who ignore it struggle within it. And here's something subtle but powerful. When you encounter foolishness, don't fight it directly. Not everything deserves your energy. Sometimes the smartest move is to step back. To observe. To let things unfold without interference. Knowing when not to engage is just as important as knowing when to act. Number 16. Many parents believe that once their children grow up and start working, their job is done. They've sacrificed everything, expecting that one day their children will succeed and lift the family up. But reality is often more complex. Children who enter the workforce without strong support systems face intense pressure. They deal with bosses, rent, expenses, and competition, all at once. They struggle to build stability while carrying expectations. This creates tension. Parents feel disappointed. Children feel overwhelmed. It's not about blame, it's about understanding the gap between expectation and reality. Number 17. How do you know you're getting stronger? First, you stop expecting too much from others. You understand that help is a bonus, not a guarantee. You rely on yourself. Second, your priorities shift. You begin to value health and financial stability more than temporary emotional satisfaction. Third, you become calmer. Small things don't disturb you anymore. Criticism doesn't shake you. You understand that not every opinion matters. Fourth, your emotional control improves. You don't react impulsively. You think then act. This is maturity, not age, but awareness. Number 18. Interestingly, many highly successful people tend to be more introverted. Not because they dislike people, but because they draw energy from within. They think deeply. They analyze. They make independent decisions. They don't need constant external stimulation. They are comfortable in silence. And because of that, they often develop stronger inner clarity. Number 19. People who are overly driven by emotions often struggle to succeed. When you react to everything, you lose focus on what actually matters. Successful individuals filter. They prioritize. They focus on outcomes. If something cannot be solved immediately, they don't dwell on it, they move forward. Emotional discipline is a form of strength. Number 20. Life requires trade-offs. You cannot have everything at once. To achieve something meaningful, you must be willing to sacrifice something else: time, comfort, convenience. Mature individuals understand this. They make decisions based on long-term outcomes, not short-term feelings. They also learn to carry their burdens quietly. Not everything needs to be expressed. Not every struggle needs to be shared. Strength often looks like silence. Number 21. When you meet someone more successful than you, don't shrink. Don't flatter excessively either. Instead, ask yourself, how can I bring value? People at higher levels are not looking for admiration, they are looking for usefulness. If you can contribute, you become relevant. If not, you remain invisible. Number 22. Many people fear losing face more than losing opportunity. They hold on to pride, even when it limits their growth. But those who succeed are often willing to bend when necessary. They learn. They adapt. They do what is required. They are flexible, not weak. Number 23. When you encounter someone better than you, treasure that opportunity. Learn from them, not just skills, but mindset. Observe how they think, how they act, how they respond to challenges. Growth often comes from proximity. Number 24. There are 3 major mistakes people make in life. Getting into serious commitments too early without stability. Limiting their environment too soon, avoiding broader exposure. And stopping learning. If you fall into all 3, your path becomes narrow. Your youth is your greatest asset. Use it to build, explore, and grow, not to repeat the same patterns without progress. Number 25. Distance yourself from people and environments that hold you back. If you stay too long, you will slowly become part of them. Not because you choose to, but because influence is subtle and constant. Protect your direction. Number 26. People who succeed act decisively. When they commit, they follow through. They don't hesitate endlessly. They face uncertainty, but they move anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action despite it. Number 27. Haruki Murakami is a great example of discipline. He began running in his 30s to improve focus and health. At first, it was difficult. But over time, he built the habit. Now, he can write for hours with deep concentration. Growth is not instant. It's repetitive. It's gradual. And it requires patience. Number 28. Some of the most strategic individuals appear simple on the surface. They don't rush to compete. They wait. They observe. In history, figures like Sima Yi, Liu Bang, and Li Shimin all demonstrated patience. They acted at the right time, not the earliest time. Not competing openly can sometimes be the highest level of competition. Number 29. If you have a big goal, keep it quiet. Not everyone will support you. Some will doubt you. Some may even try to stop you. Share results, not intentions. Protect your focus. Number 30. Your true supporters are not those who flatter you publicly, but those who give you honest feedback privately. They help you grow, not just feel good. They push you forward. They expand your thinking. And those people are rare, so value them. Number 31. The only way to remain steady in a constantly changing world is to understand your own value. If you don't know what you stand for, what you're capable of, or what you bring to the table, life becomes directionless. You drift from one situation to another, reacting instead of choosing. Your core value is like an anchor. Without it, you'll be pulled by trends, opinions, and circumstances. With it, you can move forward with clarity, even in uncertainty. The more clearly you define your strengths and purpose, the less likely you are to lose yourself. Number 32. If you are too lenient with yourself, others will naturally take advantage of you. But when you hold yourself to high standards, people begin to respect you more. This isn't about being harsh, it's about discipline. Most people build relationships based on emotions. They like you, they help you. They don't like you, they distance themselves. But highly capable individuals build relationships based on value. They ask, what can we create together? How can we grow? If you want to become irreplaceable, you must build something within yourself that cannot easily be replaced: skills, insight, character, or a unique combination of all three. Number 33. People who consistently make money are not necessarily the most talented, but they are often the most focused. They don't let emotions interfere with decisions. They stay clear-headed, especially under pressure. When they set a goal, they pursue it with precision. They don't scatter their energy. They understand that at each stage, there is one main objective, and they commit to it fully. They also understand sequencing. First, build stability. Then expand. First, create value. Then enjoy the rewards. Because of this, they are able to balance career, relationships, and life over time. Number 34. The more successful a person becomes, the more humble they tend to be. Not because they lack confidence, but because they understand how much they still don't know. They remain curious. They keep learning. They treat others with respect, regardless of status, because they recognize that everyone has something to teach. There are 3 stages of growth in life. First, you realize how big the world is. Second, you realize how small you are. And third, you see the complexity and harshness of reality, but you still choose to engage with it, to build, to contribute, and to live fully. That third stage is where true strength lies. Number 35. Most dead ends in life come from 2 extremes: constantly chasing external validation, or completely ignoring your inner self. If you only chase money, fame, or approval, you become dependent. Your happiness is controlled by things outside of you. And when those things fluctuate, you lose balance. But if you disconnect entirely from reality and ignore practical needs, you become ineffective. The key is alignment, building your external life while staying connected to your inner core. Your true self is not defined by trends, opinions, or temporary success. It's something deeper. A steady awareness. A quiet clarity. When you reconnect with that, your mind becomes stable. You stop reacting to every external change. You begin to act from intention, not impulse. And that's where real peace comes from. Now, let's bring everything together. Stay away from people with a loser's mindset. Not because you are better than them, but because your direction matters. The people around you shape your thinking more than you realize. Surround yourself with those who challenge you, who think clearly, who act with purpose. At the same time, work on yourself relentlessly. Improve your thinking. Strengthen your discipline. Build your value. Understand that life is not about quick wins, it's about long-term positioning. Every decision you make either moves you forward or holds you back. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have everything figured out. But you do need to be aware. Because once awareness begins, everything changes. You start to see patterns. You start to make better decisions. You start to move differently. And slowly, your life begins to reflect that change. So from this moment on, ask yourself one simple question. Are the people around you helping you grow, or holding you back? Because the answer to that question will quietly determine your future. Thank you for watching. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect, And if you haven't subscribed yet, join us here at Ancient Wisdom for more insights that help you think deeper and live better.